bar is gone.
It should have like still a little tiny thing up
Pros
top.
and cons.
How am I supposed to see that, Chaz, when it's an all-white loading screen? Come on!
Oh jeez. Oh my gosh.
Let me see. Oh, I got a notification on my phone. We're live.
Keep your head on a swivel.
Ooh.
I didn't get the notification.
Oh gosh. All right. Did you say you started broadcasting now?
Yeah, Chaz, come on. Get the net.
All right.
Live in the
I know,
now.
I'm slow on it today. I'm just slow on it today. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, today.
Uh-oh. We're at 12 and 12.
Let's see. I'm just making sure my all's good to go on my end.
Alright. I've got my phone ready to see if anyone asks any questions. Which I doubt.
Hopefully they ask about the Tauntauns.
Oh my gosh, so me and my sister were on our way into Boston so she could drop me off for my birthday, and I see the sign that says Taunton.
Oh yeah, Taunton that.
Like Taunton that. And I was like, dude, does that say Tauntaun?
I drive by that every day. I'm like,
she's like, no, Jazz, it says Taunton. I was like, no, that definitely says Tauntaun.
don't worry, that place smells bad on the outside.
Oh,
That's funny.
I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
On the inside.
Alright, I was just
I like
trying
all
to
the
find our
memes about
streams.
Luke's gunner on his snowspeeder Dak, where he's like, I feel like I could take on the Empire myself, and he dies 2 minutes into the battle. Dak!
Don't get cocky.
Don't get cocky, kid.
Alright, so I'm broadcasting now too. So, are you?
Muy bien.
Oh.
Dos Cerritos en Baja California.
So, I'm sorry guys, I missed a week because I was lazy. I fell asleep. That's just the honest to God truth.
It's okay, man.
I fell asleep.
Don't apologize
Apology not
to me.
accepted because it's not required.
So I'm
Apologize to our
sorry
viewers.
to our viewers. I apologize.
Both of
I'm
you.
so sorry.
Both of you have the humblest apologies.
I'll tell you.
So as far as talking Sith news goes, guys, welcome back to the stream. As far as us and what we're up to, I took a little bit of a lapse as far as like posting stuff regularly because I was trying to get a bunch of content created so I can start putting stuff out. So we're almost at that point now where we'll have videos out, hopefully on a daily basis of just updates on what's going on in the Star Wars universe, and specifically Star Wars Battlefront 2, so that'll be cool.
I just slammed right into the side of the ship during my stream.
So
That's good.
so this week we got a couple things I wanted to chat about. It's been since the last time we talked, a lot of stuff has happened. I mean, it seems like regular stuff. It's all the time now. But Star Wars Battlefront 2 got some leaks as far as the player list that got put out. We've gotten a little bit better understanding of what the star cards are going to be like and all that, which gives us a much better understanding, I think, of what the microtransactions are going to look like, because we kind of have an understanding now of what, how we progress. So you can kind of just assume that we're going to be paying for loot boxes and stuff like that, or loot crates, because that's where you can pull legendary cards out of. So
Kind of like
that'll be nice. I got an email to us from one of our viewers about Crosshair play, and they just had a question as to what we thought about it, so we'll talk about that. And I read a really interesting article today about if the Star Wars cinematic universe is crashing and burning right now, or is on its way to crashing
Come
and
on!
burning.
As if Disney's gonna let that happen. Next topic.
Disney will never let that happen.
That one was easy.
Moving on. Dude, Yeah, no, but it's definitely something we're going to chat about because for those people who aren't as big Star Wars fans, it might seem like Star Wars is making some mistakes here and there as far as maybe staff choicing, maybe I know, gosh, I will never remember the kid who's the kid, God, like I'm a million years old, the guy who's coming to play the new
Who's
Han
that millennial?
Solo. Childish skin, who knows? Who's that now? Yeah, who's the new dude playing Han Solo? What's his name? I can't remember.
God,
That's
son
all.
of a gun. It begins with an A.
I can't remember. That young hotshot, that young whippersnapper who's gonna be replacing.
Hold on.
The guy who
Google's
doesn't
doing
know
his
how to
job.
act.
Alden
right.
Ehrenreich. Some German
Yeah, I
guy.
knew he had a crazy last name.
Yeah, it's something not easy to remember.
What was it again? Adam?
44. Alden Eichenreich.
Okay. So he apparently had to get an acting coach brought in.
Yeah, he's not a
Pretty
good actor.
embarrassing.
Part way through, and I mean we're decent part way through principal photography at this point. From my understanding anyway, from what they keep saying, that we're so far through principal photography, and now we had an issue with the last time we talked. Literally, this I think had just happened, like maybe the day or 2 days before, where they got rid of the directors, and we were thinking either like, oh, maybe Ron Howard, and now it's definitely Ron Howard.
Yeah.
So that happens, which is a pretty big deal this far along to get a completely new director. However,
I think that's a bigger deal than the acting coach, if I'm being honest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean the director's the face of the movie. I mean, you could argue that because it's a Disney franchise and they have their paws on everything, that the directors aren't really doing much except being figureheads anyway. But but at the same time, they're the public face of the movie. Like J.J. Abrams was episode 7. You know what I mean? So
I would say it's both pretty embarrassing.
I mean, they're both problematic from
the
outside. Like, right, that's what I was gonna say. In terms of optics, neither one of them is exactly what you want. But if the kid needs acting lessons, get him an acting coach. Like, it's better to admit it and have the movie not suck than to have him
and I didn't know if
the
he
whole
needed
movie.
an acting coach. That's true. I didn't know if he needed an acting coach because he is a bad actor, or he needed an acting coach because he's playing one of the most iconic characters of all time and needed to nail the role. Like, honestly, like, there could have been somebody, like, they say acting coach, but they could have brought in an acting coach because they're, you know, it's an acting coach's job to come in and say, like, all right, Han Solo walks like this, he talks like this, he would do this, he wouldn't do that, he would look in this direction in this way because he's Han Solo. Like, and not only that, but they're taking, like, the whole character into an account, you know. So an acting coach would come in and be like, all right, in this movie he hurt his leg, so at this point maybe you'd be walking with a limp. I mean, obviously it's early Han Solo, so there wouldn't be anything like that, but I just mean
it might even be just something like exercises, like verbal exercises are really important as an actor, you know, staying spry. And it's hard shooting a movie like that for as long as they have to shoot. It's not exactly fun. So I mean, that part of it's fine. That doesn't bother me. I mean, it's embarrassing that it came out public, but I would bet that happens to 90% of movies. I'll bet this happens. You know what I mean? I'll bet it happens all the time, and we're just finding out about it.
Yeah, but that's true. It's probably just like, since it's Star Wars, it's a way bigger deal.
Right.
Yeah, when it comes to Star Wars, we're gonna know everything. I mean, it's kind of like Marvel at this point. Like, if there's any little change of anything, because it's so big, like, it's kind of like, you know, it's a big deal. So, I mean, I don't know. There are some not problems. I hate to call them problems, but there are some things with. I don't know, man. I'm trying to want this Han Solo movie. I'm trying to. Like, everything inside of me is like, dude, you want it's a Han Solo movie. Like, I want it. But, like, I don't know. I'm so skeptical. I'm so skeptical about this movie. So, I don't know. We'll see how it comes out.
They kind of give me a reason to be skeptical.
Right.
Like, I was really excited, too, but now after all this, I'm like, I don't know if I'm that excited anymore.
But, I mean, Rogue One had their speculations, too. Like, they got to reshoot. It must suck now. And Rogue One was fine. I mean, I'm way more excited for this than I was for Rogue One at any point.
When it comes to, like, the level of, like, hype I'm feeling, I'm definitely like more interested in an origin story, or as close to an origin story as we're gonna get, than I am like a whole new adventure. Not that I'm saying like, seeing Rogue One was great because it was a whole new adventure tucked into something we already knew, whereas like the Han Solo is going to be like hopefully like a whole new thing. Like we really don't know anything about young Han Solo.
Yeah, we don't know
like,
who the characters are.
Yeah, we know nothing, and like obviously so much time has gone by that there are characters that could have been a huge part of his not childhood, but those early adult years that are gone now that could be like home run characters that we just know nothing about. So it's like when it comes between trying to compare the new Han Solo movie to the Rogue One experience, they're different. I definitely am much more excited for, like I said, a story-driven origin story that like kind of can bring us some of the Star Wars stuff that we love, but at the same time like introducing some new stuff. But like I said, my level of excitement is waning with each new.
Yeah, it's just dropping each time something like this happens.
And it's not even okay. I shouldn't even say my level of excitement because it's not that I'm not excited. Like, of course I'm excited.
Your expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah, my expectations are starting to drop a little bit because I'm like, I don't want to go into this movie with all the. Because honestly, when I went to go see The Force Awakens, my expectations were through the roof. Like, I was expecting. Not just a good Star Wars movie, but a really good movie. Like, I'm like, this is going to be a good movie, period. Like, even if I was seeing Star Wars for the first time, this movie should want to drag me into the franchise. And it did. It was really good. I really liked The Force Awakens. I know some people have their issues with it, but I really loved it.
Not me.
I liked it too. Not this time.
Who has two thumbs and didn't like The Force Awakens?
I love Force Awakens.
I really liked The Force Awakens, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know, you said you didn't love it?
No, I did love it. I'm saying I didn't have issues with it.
Oh, yeah, okay. I thought you said you didn't love it. I was like, what? No, I thought it was fantastic. And so it's kind of at this point where I'm not necessarily like, oh, man, this is going to be, like, amazing. Well, it's definitely good, but it might not what I would think Han Solo standalone might be. I was thinking, like, it seems like it's that. Why would you kill me, dude? That's so what the hell, man? No, I don't know. I was expecting the Han Solo standalone movie to be. I don't know. I guess maybe I wasn't expecting it to be dark, but I think we were talking about it at work at one point in time. We were like, well, I'm like, maybe it'll be like that in between where it has its dark moments, but it's Han Solo, Chewie, and Lando, so it should lighten up. Like, there should. I'm expecting light, funny moments.
Well,
the
directors of it are the directors of the guys who were the directors are the guys that did the Lego Movie and Lego Batman and 21 Jump Street and all that stuff. So, I mean, and
those are all really successful. I mean, those were really good. The Lego Movie was funny. Incredible.
So
yeah, I thought the Lego Movie was solid.
So I think that I don't know. It's interesting going to Ron Howard from them because his tone is not funny. Like Beautiful Mind, Apollo 13. Those are not comedies. so I mean, we'll see. It's totally a different mindset going into it. It wouldn't have been weird if they went to like a different, similar director. They just went like a total 180 in terms of the type of movies the directors make.
But apparently, like, there were some small, like, I don't know, like, see, that's why I'm like, I'd love to get more detail, which I know we'll probably never get until the movie's,
It's
like,
amazing
out,
that we've gotten as much detail as we have.
Yeah, it really is. But until the movie's, like, out, and it's one of those, like, things where we can, like, actually dig into it, and they don't mind maybe giving us information later on down the road, once the movie, like, is a success and all that. But it'd be nice to know, like, what actually was going on, because I even read just today that, like, one of the issues that Kathleen Kennedy had, like, Disney had, was like, oh, we want you to shoot in this many, we want you to do this many different angles of it, or something like that. And, the director's like, well, no, we know we can get the shot with, like, these many angles.
Right.
But, so because of that, I'm like, I was wondering if it was maybe an argument versus, like, CGI versus practical effects. And, like, maybe they didn't want to go with as much CGI, and and I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to.
Yeah, it's a lot of speculation. It's hard to tell. I mean,
yeah.
It's not even worth guessing, honestly, because it could have been anything. And like I said, that's just evidence of what I was saying before, of the fact that the director is really just the figurehead whose name is on the screen. They're not making many big decisions. Most of the stuff's been storyboarded for years, and they're just shooting it. So, I mean, if they had a creative difference with one of the actors or something like that, then we'll see. One of our viewers commented that those directors make films for a younger audience, so maybe Disney's going towards an older audience, which Ron Howard definitely provides. But again, creative differences is a very wide description. It could mean that the directors weren't stoked. Right, exactly. It could mean that they weren't stoked or that the studio wasn't stoked. It's too ambiguous to really speculate on. I think, if anything, the acting coach is the bigger leak, because that happens all the time. I mean, I'm telling you, it just doesn't get leaked like it did.
No, and like I said, I honestly, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm really hanging on to the fact that I believe that the acting coach got brought in because this guy's playing literally one of the most iconic characters.
Yeah. I mean, the acting coach might have been there the whole time, and they just leaked it now. You know what I mean? That kind of thing happens all the time,
there's an acting coach now. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Which I would not be. I honestly, if they needed to hire an acting coach to make sure this guy was as Han Solo as you can possibly be, then I'm perfectly fine with that.
Right.
Because
that.
Watching the movies, and the one thing I can say that's been really great has been Han Solo throughout, no matter what universe you're watching him in, he's always Han Solo, so that continuity needs to stay, and you're gonna notice if he does something not Han Solo like. And so
that's true.
I would rather him be on the money and then be oh wait, he has an acting coach. Who cares if he has an acting coach? If I was in a movie, I would need an acting guy. I suck at acting, so it's you know what I mean? Of course he has. I really don't mind that. So as far as the entire, because the article I read was pretty dramatic in its wording, making it seem like the entire cinematic universe was about to come crashing down around everyone. I don't think that. Yeah, no, that's not definitely. That's definitely going to happen. As far as individual movies coming out, I just really think it's important to not go nuts over what we hear ahead of time, because we're so hungry for information right now, and the powers that be know that we're super hungry for information.
Right.
So we're gonna get stuff all the time, and sometimes it feels like it's just to appease us, so we have something because we're so hungry as fans. But at the same time, I don't know. These are some weird things as far as changing directors and this and that. But I trust Kathleen Kennedy, man. I trust Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar franchise. They're not gonna kill it.
That's true. Crash it.
Right. It's in this kind of. We've actually been lucky in the amount of leaks that we have not gotten. Generally, with something this big, you get leaks every day. Whether it's a poster or a drone photo of set or something like that. You get little things that you're not supposed to get early, and just because Disney's been on top of it, we're sort of jaded now. So whenever we get anything, we think it's the end of the world. And really, in the perspective of leaks in general, it's not that huge.
No, it's not. And the one defense that I thought was pretty good that I did read in this Screen Rant article that I'm referring to was that the Star Wars Cinematic Universe, compared to other cinematic universes, we've never had a large expanded Star Wars Cinematic Universe. This is the first time this is really ever happened. So it's hard to say what is Kathleen Kennedy might need to be making some adjustments on the fly. You know what I mean? Exactly. So it's right now we might be seeing what we might be seeing is Disney just Disney kind of just stretching itself and going through those growing pains of or Star Wars, going through those growing pains of all right, how do we expand, and what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Do we stick to like the hardcore fans and what they want, or do we make sure we can do what George Lucas intended originally, which is to make this for family members and the next generation kind of thing?
Yeah, and I mean they've got to struggle to keep everything in canon. There's so much going on.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's so hard to do.
They're doing the same thing with Marvel, so it's just they've got a lot to do. But
yeah,
I mean if there's anyone who's going to do it, it's Disney. They've been doing it forever.
It's definitely. Oh yeah, and they're doing it really well. And honestly, I do want to drop in that like there's a lot more coming out than just the movies. So if you do listen to us with any regularity, you'll hear me mention the books, and I know Adam will bring up the the old comics and the old, like, there's so much more to Star Wars than just. Yeah, I mean, the new TV show looks amazing. I need to do more research on that, so we'll definitely talk about that next time we get together. But there is a new animated series coming out that looks incredible. It looks really good, and I'm super excited about it. But there's way more to Star Wars than just the movies, so I think it's important, too, to also remember, like, it's not just what we see on screen, so they have to make sure, and everything now is fitting within the universe, and it has to be canon. So, like you said, they have to keep everything canon, and they have to make sure, like, it's
just like Marvel.
So it's tough, dude. It's going to be really tough to do comic books, movies, this and that. Make sure all of the facts are on point. Make sure everything's like it's going to be tough. But I think I know Disney can pull it off, and I don't think you guys.
Right. They've been doing it with Marvel for a little while now. They'll continue to do it with Marvel. They have all the source material to pull from. They'll be fine. I really think all of this is just people getting mad about nothing. They don't have to spare any
expenses either. Like,
I mean, and we're quoting a Screen Rant article.
That's true.
It's not like we're quoting.
This is a Screen Rant article. That's true.
I don't know, some credible source.
Yeah, some like New York Times article or something like that. Not to, sorry, Screen Rant. Screen Rant's gonna hit us up like, word.
Yeah, that's fine. If they publish about us, that'll put us on the map.
That's awesome. Yeah, that'll make us super cool, right? Hopefully, Screen Rant hears us hating on them. Then, like, you suck, Screen Rant. put us on your website. but anyway, yeah. So that was a little article that I dug into today and thought it was pretty interesting because it has been a sentiment that I have been hearing people worry about, like with the changes, and it's and it's definitely warranted. Like, especially if you love Star Wars, it's a warranted worry. Like, it's not why
people are freaking out.
I guess, but like, let them make a bad movie and then freak out. Like when they make something that sucks.
Adam, you're being way too practical, dude. You need to ease up.
You're not thinking like
make something terrible, and then the neckbeards can come out and cry about it. Like until
it's like the acting coach. Why did they even pick this guy?
Right.
Like that's what most people think. Yeah. What are they doing?
And I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the actor that's playing him, but I'll let him suck before I talk trash. Especially with the fact that Gambino's going to be in it, because you know it's not going to be that bad.
That's exactly what I was going to say, that there's more to the Han Solo movie, just like there's more to every Star Wars movie than just Luke Skywalker or just, Anakin. Like, there's more to them. Like, we were talking about the prequels a little while ago, and a lot of people really don't like Anakin. And even if you don't, there's still plenty to appreciate about the prequels,
right.
Besides his acting in it. So, like, yeah, maybe this guy might not pull it off in the best way, but I'm hoping, because it's Star Wars, that it'll be classic Star Wars and we'll be able to fall in love with so much more than just the character that was, like, presented to us. You know what I mean? Like, that was what's great about Star Wars. It's like, some of us fell in love with Luke, some of us fell in love with Han. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's so much to love about it. It's gonna be fine.
Oh yeah, I'm not worried about the Han Solo movie. I think that's gonna be okay.
Plus, we've got games to play for years.
I hope so. Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But either way, so it's looking like it'll be interesting. I know I'm trying to think of his name. The writer. It's kind of better. The writer who's tackling episode 9, I can't remember his name. He just put out a book, and apparently it wasn't that great.
He wrote Empire too. Irvin Kershner.
The guy who's doing it. Well, I think it's the guy. Is he doing episode 9?
Yeah.
Really?
Unless I'm getting his name wrong. But it's the guy who did Empire that's doing episode 9.
Okay, well, somebody who's working
Sorry,
on...
I'm talking about 8.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm not The Last Jedi. I'm talking about the one afterwards. It hasn't been named yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so episode 9, whoever is set to be writing that one, and I don't think it's that guy.
Lawrence
I wish I
Kasdan
knew
is the
his
name I'm trying to think of. Him
yes,
and his son.
Yes, no, yeah, he is definitely doing
8.
The Last Jedi. Yeah,
it's him and
he's
his
definitely
son.
doing 8. That's why I'm really excited for that one.
He directed Empire, but he didn't write it.
Yeah, oh gosh, dude. Empire, like I've said it many times, Empire is my favorite. And the fact that this one seems to be mirroring Empire somewhat, I'm really excited for it. I have a feeling I really have a feeling The Last Jedi might wind up being my favorite Star Wars movie. I don't want to say that too prematurely, but if it's lining up the way that, because honestly, with all the issues that we're having with and I say all the issues, but really they're not that big of issues, guys. They're really not that big.
We don't have any issues from episode 8 either. We're just talking about Han Solo.
That's what I was gonna say. The Han Solo movie and the episode 9, there's some questions on. However, apparently The Last Jedi has gone off without a hitch. Like, apparently shooting was really easy. Everybody got along really well.
8, so.
Yeah, apparently it was all really good. Like, from what I hear, like The Last Jedi has been like one of the best movies to film for a lot of that cast, and for a lot of the people working on the movie. So that I only have super high hopes for The Last Jedi. Like, all I keep hearing is that Mark Hamill is Oscar worthy in this movie, which is oh my god, I cannot wait to see what he brings.
We also heard that about Logan, though. I mean, they have to say that.
That's true. That is so true. That's true. But Logan, I don't know. That was pretty good still. I don't think it was Oscar worthy. It was still pretty good. But yeah. So Star Wars Battlefront news. Things have been. We had some leaks. Battlefront 2 is on its way. It's getting closer and closer. Starting tomorrow, we will be having videos out almost every day about what's going on with Battlefront 2. Also, once Battlefront 2 comes out, we are going to have a weekly update of kind of best kills, best moments, funniest moments, all that good stuff. So you guys, you guys can send us your videos and all that good stuff, and we can share and build a community together. It'll be beautiful. But I try not to, man. I get emotional over this shit. It's awesome. But yeah. So as far as Battlefront 2 goes, we have a little bit more of an idea of what's going to be happening with the star cards. So if you haven't heard yet, star cards at this point are looking like they're going to be at different levels. If you played any shooter recently, you'll be pretty familiar with the progression or with the system of getting or if you played Skyrim or really any RPG, so when items drop, they'll be anything with progression.
You played anything ever.
You should be pretty used to so green, I believe, is going to be normal or common, or star cards that drop pretty normally. Then there's going to be blue, purple, and then gold, which will be legendary. All of those you can get through loot crates, or with the exception of the legendary ones, you can get through crafting. You can get parts to upgrade your star cards, basically. All of this is really cool, but really it gives us more information on kind of what microtransactions might look like, because we know that there is no season pass, which is pretty cool. But we do know that there are microtransactions, so it can be safe to say that microtransactions we're going to be if you want to drop some cash, you're going to either be spending money on specialized star cards or on the loot crates themselves. And just being able to purchase 10, 20, whatever loot crates, and then being able to open them up to see if you get legendary stuff. Now, as far as the star cards go, and all that, there's been this I've been on the Battlefront 2 forums a lot recently, and there's been this back and forth between like one group of people who really loves the idea of cross-era play and another group of people who like hate the idea of being able to see like Anakin versus Darth Vader.
See, I don't know why.
I don't get that.
Like, you don't have to play it. It's like saying, I don't like Team Deathmatch. Alright, then don't play Team Deathmatch.
Adam, you are way too practical, man. Like, you got, like, you're not making any sense, dude. Like, you think way too practically. You're not making sense to me. No, that doesn't make sense. People, you need to be more irrational here, dude. So, one guy's argument was that or a lot of people's argument, not just one dude's argument, a lot of people's argument is that it's going to break away from the immersion sense of it. I don't know.
I don't get that at all. I'm sorry.
It's a first-person
I kind of get it, but at the same time,
Wars.
they're like, "Oh, you guys are giving us too much." Like that's
like,
what they're saying.
What did I say that time we were drunk and playing Turtles in Time, and the turtle fell in the sewer, and he died? I was like, "Oh, that's unrealistic." Obviously, it's a talking turtle with like weapons. Like the whole game is unrealistic. The premise is in space. You can get off of it. It's okay.
Okay, so to defend and only to play devil's advocate a little bit. To defend that side, I will say that my wife says I'm the worst person to watch movies with because we'll be watching a movie like Star Wars or like something that's like based in space with like a bunch of aliens or whatever, and something will happen, and I'm always the guy who's like, well, that's not realistic. He's like, well, Chaz, they're in this different universe. I'm like, yeah. But if you're following the rules of this universe and this happened, they would break their own rule, and that doesn't make sense. So I'm not sold on it anymore.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. It's just. I mean,
understand,
there's also
like,
a grain of
silly.
salt. It's a video game. Like,
exactly.
It just doesn't make any sense.
This is my thinking is that you have to think about what you want, and we can't ask for too much or too little on it can't be too much or too little of one thing. We have to be we have to play it diplomatically in the sense where we can't go to DICE and EA and be like, hey, we want this all-out Star Wars fantasy shooter where you can do this and you can do that and blah blah blah, and we have all these characters, but you better make sure it's never not canon. Like, it needs to always be. If there's anything ever that's even a little bit, I'm gonna be so mad. Like, we can't do that. And then we can't go to like Visceral and be like, hey, I want this beautiful whatever, this and that, da-da-da, but hey, can you add, like, maybe Darth Maul, and can you add, like, maybe this, because I'd like to see this character. It's like, no, dude, like, we're trying to do this along this storyline, along this era, and we want it to be canon, so this is the story you're gonna get. Right. Like, that's the game we're gonna get that's gonna fulfill that. Like, we have to remember that, like, Disney just got Star Wars, like, and on the sense of, like, how long it takes to make things, Disney just acquired them not that long ago, and we've been getting content in as far as, you know, books, movies, video games now. We have to remember that there's more coming. Like, there is more coming, and we've gotten a lot. So, like, right now, just be happy. I mean, just be happy that we got a decent, solid shooter. That's going to have its own story mode, which is the argument that I've been making. Like, if you want to play a story that's canon, and you don't want to see all these characters, like, fighting each other, play the story. That's why they have one. So you don't have to deal with
that. That just doesn't make any sense
to
me.
It doesn't make sense
or
at all.
Just don't play those games. Now, this is my only thinking with cross-era play that I think that maybe we're not thinking about. Star cards are a thing, and they're obviously upgradable. They have said over and over and over and over again, each character is customizable. To an extent, so you can trick out your character you can trick out a character that you love in a way that fits your play style.
Right.
Who's to say that Anakin isn't in it and one of his star cards makes him Darth Vader? So we keep complaining about cross-era play, but what if we get both of these characters in the game, but we're just not thinking about it the way that we should be thinking about it, which is, what if we get star cards that upgrade characters we like? So in the same vein, you can get, like, there's the new Last Jedi coming out. So in the same vein, we can get a young Luke, and one of his star cards is upgrading
himself
to the older Luke. You know what I mean? And so his skill set is kind of the same, but you get a little bit of a different play. Where, like, young Luke might be quick and fast and agile, whereas the older Luke might be a little bit more of a tank and be able to, you know, take a little bit more damage while maybe putting out less. You know what I mean? So...
Yeah, again, it's like the movie. The speculation is just going to run rampant until it actually comes out. And then you'll have people who hate it, and you'll have people who love it. But I personally, as a principle, like I was saying, if you don't want to play that, then don't play that. It doesn't make any sense to complain about it. If other people want to play it, then they can play it, and if you don't want to, you don't have to. It's like playing Madden and only wanting franchise mode. Then only play franchise mode. You're not going to tell other people not to play online.
Exactly. And honestly, I think the best thing about, and if you played Star Wars Battlefront 2 for PS2, which some of these young folks, man, these young gamers out here,
younger than PS2,
and it's bad because now some of those PS2 games are like considered vintage, which is making me feel a little bit up there. But, yeah, man, some of the younger gamers, I realize they don't remember, so maybe they're just coming at it with a different, you know, vantage point. But some of the best moments we got out of that was seeing these characters that necessarily might have never met take each other on, and it was awesome.
Exactly.
And that was like most of the fun of the game. Honestly, was that it was like everything. All the little Star. You have to look at the Star Wars Battlefront games as toy sets. That's what they are. They're toy sets. And if you were to buy a toy set, you know, if you're like one of those serious collectors, you put it up on the shelf and you put everything where it's supposed to go, and you sit there and you look at it and it's great. Or if you're like me, you're like, all right, I'm going to have this guy play with this dude, and now this guy's going to hang out with this guy, and Jango Fett and Boba Fett are going to fly around together now because I'm an idiot and I'm still 5 years old. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, the whole idea is that, like, it's supposed to take you back to when you were a kid and you had all these toys to play with, and you can make the universe your own a little bit. So,
right, yeah.
I like to think of it as like each character and each thing within the game is another toy that I can play with, and I can play with it how I want to. So yeah, you're right, man. The internet is what it is, though. So if people didn't complain about things, then we wouldn't ever have anything to talk about.
Well, I mean, if what you're going to complain about is cross-era play, and that's what everybody wants. Oh, yeah. Like, what are you even doing with your life? People have been complaining about not having that for the 2 years since this game came out.
But now that it's on the way, people don't know how they want it, Adam. Now they don't know if they want it.
If you don't want it, then you didn't play Battlefront 2.
The argument ends when you say, okay, well then don't play.
Like, yeah, exactly. Good talk. That was fun. Like, if you don't want it, then you
if you're gonna like freak out every time you see Rey fighting a droid army, then just don't play. Like,
well, that's the thing. It's like in the showcase for the games, Rey was in the that never happened. Rey would never see Darth Maul. Like,
I just can't even imagine.
That's not even possible.
Someone just like, oh my god, I can't believe they're showing this garbage. Like, who's gonna say that? I don't understand. Like, I can't believe they're showing Rey fighting droids.
I don't really get it either, but it's out there, man. The forums are going crazy with it right now, and it's really funny to see because a lot of people will say the same exact sentiment that we're saying, which is, so what?
Yeah.
It's like, dude,
I
it looks like a
anybody
great game, so
credible want to not want cross-era. Everyone I've talked to that cares at all or knows what they're doing wants it.
Yeah, any of the streamers or anything like that, YouTubers, however you want to put them, that I follow who do, you know, Battlefront, I mean, they've mentioned it, and, I mean, honestly, like you said, anyone who's credible says the same thing. Why wouldn't you, and you kill me from behind, why wouldn't we want cross-era play? I want cross-era play, that way I can take on Adam with Darth Maul and chop his freaking head off or shoot me in the back. But yeah, so there's that. I mean, I'll be interested to see how it all pans out. But like I said, guys, there's a lot of new stuff coming around. I don't know. This is kind of just like a last little thing I wanted to throw in there. I don't know if you guys have been reading the comic books at all that have been coming out.
Not recently.
But just a quick shout out to the Vader series. It's getting good.
Oh, it's been good.
It's getting real good.
It was good when I stopped reading it like 2 years ago. It was really good.
Yeah, I know they just came out with Marvel just dropped a new one. The new one just dropped not too long ago. I think it was about. We're on 3 now, so it's been about 3 weeks. Yeah, on the one. So we're on 3, and it's good. It's good. Those who have not dived into the expanded universe stuff yet, please dive into it because it's really, really, really good.
Andrew says his dream is to see Yoda versus Kylo. And I agree. I'm really stoked for Darth Maul versus anybody, because that's one thing we got kind of screwed out of with Darth Maul in the movies, is that he died so quickly that he didn't fight anyone. He should have been a longer. He should have fought Windu or any. Oh,
I think it'd be pretty cool if they had like unique dialogue for each hero matchup too. I think that'd be pretty sweet too.
Yeah. Right.
Like they say to each other based on who's fighting.
Now here's the thing. This is why I don't understand, because we could literally spend the next 20 minutes, like the next 15-20 minutes we have left of our little thing, literally just talking about who we would want to see versus who and why, and like we get to do that in a real setting, like so it's like I don't understand. Yeah, exactly. So I don't quite understand where the complaints are coming from. Like, I know some people are complaining, saying like, "Oh, they just don't want it." They're like, "Oh, it pulls me out of the, the feeling of it. I just don't want it." There are other people like, yeah, I don't get that. And then there are other people who say like, "Oh, I want it, but I want it done correctly. So I don't mind having Crosshair play, but like I just want to, like, I don't mind seeing." There was someone saying like, "Oh, I don't mind seeing like Rey versus Darth Vader, but I don't want to see Anakin versus Darth Vader because that would just never happen." But I'm like, yeah, neither would Rey versus Darth Vader.
None of this would happen.
Oh my god.
Yoda's a little green midget puppet. Like that wouldn't happen ever.
Yo, my gosh, yeah. So I mean. I don't know. I guess if we're looking within the sense in the realm of like in the Star Wars universe, I guess in some way I could see how it could pull you out of the experience, but that's not what I'm playing.
Then you didn't play Battlefront 2, because that was
you didn't. You never played Battlefront 2.
It was
exactly.
That was the whole name of the game.
Yeah. It was. So, as far as that goes, I mean, like I said, we could talk all night about matchups that we want to see. I mean, I want to see Windu versus Jango again. I mean, I want to play Windu versus Jango again. I mean, in that same exact setting, in that same exact moment that it happened as it did in the movies, because I thought that was one of my favorite scenes, seeing all those Jedi just, like, rush out onto the field and, like, take on all those droids. It was awesome. So, to even be able to play through stuff like that would be great, and so we wouldn't be able to get that if we didn't have all these eras, and to ask them to separate them like that just doesn't quite make any sense. Doesn't quite make any sense.
Anakin versus Vader would create a hole in the space-time continuum, says Andrew.
Oh my gosh, dude!
It'd be like a team full of Brett Favre.
Adam, that couldn't happen though. But that couldn't happen.
It couldn't happen.
It just never could happen.
I want to see Shmi versus Sand People. I want to see Sebulba versus versus R2-D2.
Shmi versus the Sand People. Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Awesome.
Yes, please. Now I need to have it. Oh my gosh, and she dies every time. Every time she gets murdered, right at the last second.
I want to see that little kid that's friends with young
Anakin
fight
and rode him forever.
The little baby Jabba the Hutt.
A real quick sidebar. Do you think Anakin would have been messed up if as messed up if when he got there his mom was already dead?
Yes.
Yes, I think so.
You think so?
Absolutely easy.
Yeah.
That was a dumb question.
No!
It was way too easy. Yes, you're wrong.
I don't think so.
He would have been less messed up if he survived. But he was messed up anyway. He was too far gone.
He was messed up going into that. That just kind of like pushed him over the edge. Either way, he was gonna mess up.
Well, because I feel like maybe if he would have got there and his mom was already dead, maybe he would have been able to been like, all right, well, I tried, I got here,
no,
I just didn't make it in time.
It didn't even matter.
But then, like, Adam's like, I don't even want to hear this thing.
No.
Like, it doesn't.
No. Arguments about.
But like, no, dude, listen. And then if he would have shown up and his mom, like now because like he gets there, she's alive, and he's like, oh, I made it. I have a slim chance to keep you alive. That chance was like extinguished in that moment, so it crushed him even more.
No, you're stupid. That's totally wrong.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think maybe if he would have gotten there, she was already dead.
I'm super
He wouldn't have been as bad for Anakin.
I think he still would have freaked out because he was just looking to like freak out.
You think he still would have killed all those Sand? You think he still would have killed everyone?
So. Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Absolutely. If she was dead already? Yeah, easy question.
Yeah? I don't know. I think it was watching her die that did it. Like, I think watching her die is what put him over.
I don't think that helped, but if she was already
yeah,
dead, he was
like, something. He wasn't like, oh man, this feels good, but it wasn't the end of the world.
Now I can go back and not kill all the younglings.
Right.
This is great.
Yeah. And the younglings had nothing to do with it. I think it probably made him feel more like he couldn't have saved Padme, which is what ultimately turned him totally dark. But I think he still would have killed all the Sand people.
Yeah, alright, maybe the Sand people were doomed either way. Sorry, Sand people. I was trying to maybe see if you had some chance, but there was no chance for those Sand people, man. They were doomed from the start.
He was still pissed about them sniping at him during the pod races.
Right.
It could have literally been like a Monty Python moment. She's like, oh no, I'm fine. He's like, are you sure? Because I really want to kill those Sand people. Are you positive you're alright? So who knows? I guess those Sand people were doomed anyway, and my theory is dumb. But either way, let us know what you think. I think it's an interesting question. Adam doesn't agree with me. If you are listening in, drop a comment and let me know what you think. If Anakin's mom died before he got there, would all those Sand people have died?
And
Adam
also,
and Darren
if you
are
think
saying
it's stupid.
absolutely. And that it's a stupid question to even ask. I'm saying it's a totally valid question, and I think
that's a dumber premise than Vader fighting Anakin.
Damn.
Wow.
Mic drop.
Right? Mic drop on that one. Oh my god. Okay. Alright. Well, either way, that's why we're here, to talk about ridiculous Star Wars theories, and that's one of my ridiculous ones. As far as Battlefront
we have a comment
goes,
from somebody who just subscribed who's watching this while in class. So, I hope he gets an A. He asked why we're playing in first person, but that's because I like feeling like I'm in Star Wars.
Oh, why am I playing in first person? Or why do we play in first person? Because I know Adam is broadcasting to YouTube, and I'm broadcasting to Twitch right now, and nobody has said our Twitch channel is silent.
Oh, we're blowing up on YouTube. I've made commitments about what we're going to talk about next week and everything.
That's what's up. I'm excited. YouTube is, we're doing good. So, I like playing in first person for the same reason you did. It just feels better. It just feels cooler. I know third person, apparently you can see better. However, I will say this, because we very rarely get into actual, like, what we're doing and sitting here and playing right now. I know most people who do Let's Plays, they mostly are just talking about the game that they're playing. Our whole thing is we love to talk about Star Wars, but I also have ADD, so I like to play it while I talk about it because it just puts me more in the experience, and it's more fun.
Yeah, the game's just the backdrop, so you get to see what it would look like. It's got nothing to do with being competitive at this game.
Exactly, so we're not competitive whatsoever at this point. However, when Star Wars Battlefront 2 comes out, you can cool believe, as my mom always said growing up. That was one of my mom's saying growing up. You can cool believe.
Let me write that down real quick.
Yeah, right.
Cool believe.
You probably also asked about Anakin killing the Sand people. Let's not put too much into it.
They don't even want to talk about that with me right now. They don't even want to talk about it. It's hilarious. I'm sorry that I brought this up, guys, but I think it's interesting enough. But apparently, it's a dumb
thought had
question
literally never crossed my mind. It had never even occurred to me to think of something that stupid.
Well, honestly, dude, I know you think it's dumb, but I really think that because I'm thinking that moment of her dying is what, like, he saw her die.
If she was dead and he knew they killed her, he would have sliced and diced him just like he did. Like I said, the only difference is that maybe he felt like the fact that he couldn't save her made him feel like he couldn't save Padme later on when he finally turned. But it had nothing to do with whether he would have killed the Sand people or not. They were
I could definitely concede that it would definitely maybe like you said, change things down the line. But in that moment, you're like, there's no chance the Sand people are gonna die. Okay, I guess I can concede to that point. I guess. Either way, I want to know what you guys think. Still, it's interesting enough to me to know because I want someone out there to come up with an awesome something so I can sit here and be like, look at Adam, you're wrong. So please drop a theory or something like that, or some arguments that support my support my side, so that way I have some more evidence against Adam. So please let us know what you guys think. As always, if you drop comments or leave anything or subscribe or anything like that, you get entered for a chance to win. You guys have been really sucky collecting these prizes, man. I simply said last time we talked.
I want the patch.
All I said was
if you still have this patch this time next week, I'm taking it. I'll come to your house and steal it.
All you have to do is put a comment in somewhere, Facebook, I don't care where you put it, Talking Sith, anywhere you go, we are Talking Sith.
Anywhere.
No matter where you go,
send me a carrier pigeon. I don't care.
You can literally say, and if it's mention this patch, guys. I've been trying to give away this patch. There are pictures of it up on our Facebook. I'll put a picture of it again up tonight, so that way you'll see again. But I've tried to give this thing away, and nobody's taking it. Talking Sith. That's where you can find us.
I'm looking at you, Andrew and Anthony, kid in class. Go get yourself a free patch. Make up for your ass that you're gonna get.
Dude, it's an awesome patch. Star Wars
videos.
Says,
Mom, I failed the class, but I got a sweet patch.
Look at a sweet Yavin 4 patch.
It's a Yavin 4 patch. It's it's very like it kind of has the feel of like an old like Vietnam patch type of situation, like an old war patch. So if you if you collect anything Star Wars, it'll definitely like.
That's probably why no one's playing it.
Flashbacks of Endors, man. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. But yeah, man, I've been trying to give this patch away. Somebody please take it from me because it's hard. I have an awesome jacket with patches all over it, and I want to put it on my jacket so bad. Someone take it. I don't want it anymore. Also. As of, so tomorrow, I'm going to be now regularly introducing daily videos. In those videos, we are randomly, it's not as steady as this. We try to give something away all the time on our weekly talk show. But so far, when it comes to the talk show, or for our daily, nobody wants this Yavin 4 patch, but for our daily videos, it will be random giveaways, so please subscribe to the channel because you never know when we might be giving something away. If you go to our Facebook page tonight or tomorrow, there will be a picture, and there's going to be 3 choices, and you guys are going to vote for what you want. There's going to be a book, there's going to be a figurine, and there's going to be a t-shirt. I'm not telling you guys what they are. It's going to be a surprise. But you guys get to pick. And you get to choose what you want. And you can vote. We're not going to be giving it. We're not going to give it away next week. It's going to be the week after. That way we have plenty of time for people to vote. And those people who vote are the people who are going to be included to win it. So you can't win it unless you vote on it. That's how it goes.
If you're in it to win it in a minute, there
we go. Lots of other nonsensical jargon. But yeah, guys, so it's worth it because we give stuff away all the time, and Star Wars is our passion, and we want to share that with you guys. And so,
next week we have to talk about theories about the rumored, because it's still not confirmed, but this guy wants us to talk about the ObiWan movie, as if it's a sure thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we have 5 minutes, and with that 5 minutes, I will say, hell yeah, dude, ObiWan movie all the way. We're gonna dive more into it next week, and we'll for sure talk about it. But as far as the ObiWan movie goes,
Ewan McGregor is best. If they don't get Ewan McGregor, don't make the movie. Let's be honest.
The fact that he could play on, then there's if Ewan McGregor's if he doesn't play in the movie, I don't want to see it.
Yeah, don't even make it.
Don't even make it.
Make young Boba Fett move on with your life.
Exactly. I know they can get him, and I feel like he would want to do it. He seems like he still really loves the Star Wars universe. He said he would direct it. That would be.
Nah, they're gonna get George Clooney. George Clooney.
No. Oh my gosh, yeah, right. It'll be just like the Batman. It'll be awesome.
Oh, with bat nipples.
Oh, dude,
Yes.
you gotta love the bat nips, man. You gotta love the bat nips. But yeah, as
Obi-Wan
far as
nips.
not even just the Obi-Wan movie, but as far as like standalone movies go, period, and origin story movies at that, I want Obi-Wan. I would like a Boba Fett, but you know what?
Definitely Saboba.
Mace Windu.
Dude, of course.
Oh, Mace Windu would be sick.
Mace Windu origin story needs to happen, and so does a Yoda one. I'd really like to see more. Actually, you know what?
Yoda
This
would
is
be
what I
like
want to see for a
1,000 years
Yoda.
old.
That's true. What I want to see for a Yoda story is I want to see Yoda in someone else's story. That's how I want to see Yoda. I want to see someone else's origin story, and then I want to see Yoda within that movie, and like get to see him like in his younger days.
Your Sand People question.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. I think like a young Qui-Gon being all brash and anti-Jedi would be cool. You could have Yoda in that.
That would be
help each
cool.
other
See
out
a
lot.
super hippie Qui-Gon, or
That'd be a
hippie, but
dope
like
show.
anti-establishment Qui-Gon, like a 60s
Jar Jar
movie.
origin and
Qui-Gon.
Yoda. Jar Jar.
Oh my gosh. But I will say this, as far as a Boba Fett origin story goes, I don't know if we'll ever get that because we kind of we know where he comes from, and if you watch
Yeah, but
the
we don't know
animated
why
series,
he's
we
the
actually
ultimate badass.
Well, we actually do get a lot of his background story within. He links up with all these like pirates. He becomes a part of this like pirate gang with Cat Bane and all them. And I know that's kind of like how he gets to Slave One and all. That's how he winds up getting it because they got it from his dad. I don't know. Either way. He gets to Slave One, and they wind up becoming a crew with him, Cat Bane, and a couple other pirates, and this and that. And you get to know more about him, but it cuts off like before he hits like teenage years. So we only see him as like a kid. We never see him really hit that teenage year. So if we did get to see him like in that phase, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Erica has a cool point that maybe they'll talk about Boba Fett in the Young Han Solo movie. That would be sweet because they were they knew each other before Empire. He had like before New Hope rather. He had a reputation with him, so that would be really cool. That's a good point, Erica. I would love that
would be
movie.
Interesting to see. Yeah, that's a really good point. That'd be interesting to see if Han Solo and Boba went back farther than we realized. Like if they have like a deeper relationship than we understood before, or even if it's been kind of this whole thing of, yeah, right. Boba's been chasing Han like all these, you know what I mean? Maybe it's one of those things where it's like, oh, we've been chasing him for a lot longer than we thought. Either way, that's really interesting, and it's definitely something worth talking about. Let us know what standalone movies you guys want to see. Let us know. Or
Jay-Z in a TV show as Darth Revan.
Oh my gosh, dude. You said my theory was
That's
dumb.
a real thing. It was on IMDb.
Dude, it was. Why would that ever happen?
I don't know.
Why would Jay-Z ever be Darth Revan?
I saw it in Star Wars Sith posting. I was like, this is fake.
Oh, that's true.
And then I went on IMDb, looked up Star Wars Underworld. It's scheduled for 2018. It's a live-action television show about the underworld of Star Wars bounty hunters. And the only credit was Jay-Z as Darth Revan. Since then, the show is still on IMDb, but Jay-Z is not on there. So it might have been somebody just messing around with IMDb Pro or whatever it's called.
Either way, it's hilarious.
It was really fun.
Either way, it's hilarious, because seeing Jay-Z within the Star Wars universe is like...
10 out of 10.
If there's anything that's going to take you out of the Star Wars universe, it's not going to be Anakin fighting Vader. It's going to be
Jay-Z
like
killing Sand people.
ROC for
finding
life,
his
man.
mom dead and killing
Oh my
Sand
gosh.
people.
I just couldn't. It is a hard knock life, man. It is a hard knock life. But
He's
before
got
I
99
start
problems,
making
but
a
he killed
million...
them all.
See, there it goes. I was going to say, right before I start making a million Jay-Z references, we'll sign off, guys. Don't forget, Talking Sith, you can find us at Twitch. You can find us on YouTube. Really, YouTube is where we're tackling right now. You can find daily updates starting tomorrow, talking about everything from the competitive potential of Star Wars Battlefront 2, all the way up to how weird it is that all of a sudden we're switching directors and all this stuff, or how weird you guys think it is. It's really not. We don't think it's that weird. But
The director
we'll
thing is super weird. Don't get me wrong. It's just not as weird as the acting. I mean, the acting coach is not weird at all.
Yeah, no, the acting coach thing isn't weird, and the new director thing isn't necessarily unheard of. It's just this far along.
Yeah, and for this scope of a franchise, it's pretty big. I mean, I don't want to paint that in a weird picture. But honestly, if they're gonna get a new director, they may as well go with someone with pedigree. And Ron Howard's directed good movies, so I mean, there's nothing to complain about Ron Howard until you've seen the movie. It's not like they got some unheard of person or some person who hasn't made great movies. It's Ron Howard, so let's wait till the movie comes out before we freak out.
That's true. Yeah, let's try to just keep an open mind about all this good stuff. And let's also just remember, at the end of the day, it is all fun. It's Star Wars, man. It's all supposed to be fun. So I know we get real serious about it. Some people yell at me on the forums, but it's all good. It's nothing but love.
Yeah, but I don't want to play if it's Crosshair.
Okay,
yeah, I don't agree with Crosshair.
We'll
Unless
miss
it's Crosshair, then it's BS. Then it's BS. But yeah, guys, you can find us talking about all that stuff and more on YouTube, Talking Sith, Twitch, Talking Sith. It's all Talking Sith. We're on Twitter at Talking Sith. Subscribe. You'll get a chance to win Star Wars Battlefront 2 for whatever system you may like it on.
And shred with us.
November 17th.
Come save the galaxy with your favorite nerds.
But yeah, if you sign up, which you should do soon, because we're going to be calling it, not soon, but we are going to be calling it early because we want to get you early access, because we'll have early access because we pre-ordered because we're super nerds. So get in there early so we can get you early access. That way you can get some exclusive content that you wouldn't get otherwise. Plus you can start jumping on and playing right away with us. But yeah, we really appreciate you stopping by again, and check YouTube daily now for our videos, and every Wednesday we sit down and we talk about what's been going on throughout the week. But yeah, we'll check you guys next week on Wednesday. Check you later.
Bye, everybody.